Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to tell you a story that isn't just meant to inspire you for a few minutes, but to stay with you long after this video ends. It's the story of a poor boy who had nothing in his hands, nothing promised in his future, and nothing easy about his life. Yet, he proved something powerful to the world and to himself, that nothing is impossible in life if you refuse to give up. This is not a fairy tale. This is not about luck or magic. This is about mindset, persistence, pain, and the quiet courage to keep moving forward even when the world tells you to stop. The boy was born in a small, forgotten village where dusty roads stretched endlessly and dreams felt like a luxury. His home was a single-room house with cracked walls and a leaking roof. When it rained, water would drip onto the floor, and the family would place old pots and buckets underneath to catch it. At night, the sound of dripping water mixed with hunger and worry. His parents worked hard every single day, but no matter how hard they worked, money was never enough. Some nights, they slept with empty stomachs, telling themselves tomorrow would be better. From a very young age, the boy understood something most children never have to think about. He understood scarcity. He understood sacrifice. He understood that if he wanted food, someone else might have to eat less. If he wanted shoes, his parents would have to give up something important. This understanding shaped him early. It didn't make him bitter, but it made him aware. Every morning, he woke up before sunrise. Not because he wanted to, but because life demanded it. He helped his mother fetch water from a well that was far away. He helped his father with small jobs whenever he could. Sometimes he carried bricks, sometimes he cleaned tools, sometimes he simply stood there, watching and learning. Then he would walk to school barefoot, holding a worn-out bag with a few old books inside. At school, things weren't easy either. Other children laughed at him. They made fun of his torn clothes and his broken shoes. Some teachers ignored him, assuming a poor boy could never become anything important. He sat at the back of the classroom, quiet and observant. Every laugh hurt. Every insult stayed with him. But instead of breaking him, those moments planted a question deep inside his heart. What if they are wrong? What if my circumstances don't decide my future? He didn't have a desk to study at home. At night, he studied under a dim light or sometimes under the street lamp outside. While others slept comfortably, he struggled to keep his eyes open, reading and rereading the same pages. His books were old, some pages missing, some words faded. But he made the most of what he had. He believed that knowledge was his way out. There were days when hunger made it impossible to concentrate. His stomach would ache during class, and his vision would blur. Still, he refused to quit. He told himself that this pain was temporary, that one day he would look back and understand why he had to go through all of this. One day, a teacher asked the class about their dreams. Some students said they wanted to become doctors, others engineers, some wanted big houses and expensive cars. When it was his turn, the boy stood up, his voice shaking, and said he wanted to change his life and help his family escape poverty. The class laughed. Even the teacher smiled politely, as if humoring a child who didn't understand reality. That day, he went home feeling smaller than ever. He sat alone outside his house, watching the sun set behind the hills. For a moment, doubt crept in. What if they were right? What if dreams were only for the rich? What if life had already decided his fate? But then he looked at his parents. He saw their tired faces, their worn hands, their quiet strength. He realized that if they could work endlessly without complaining, the least he could do was try. That night, he made a silent promise to himself. He promised that no matter how hard life became, he would not give up on his dreams. As the years passed, challenges grew bigger. School became harder. Expenses increased. There were moments when it seemed impossible to continue studying. Sometimes he had to miss school to work and earn a little money. Each missed class felt like falling behind in a race where he was already starting far behind everyone else. At one point, his father fell sick. The small income they had almost disappeared. The family was drowning in worry. Relatives suggested that the boy should quit school and work full-time. They said education was a waste for someone like him. They said survival mattered more than dreams. For days, the boy struggled with the decision. He knew his family needed help. He knew quitting school would make things easier in the short term. But deep down, he also knew that giving up on education would trap him in the same cycle forever. After many sleepless nights, he chose the harder path. He decided to work part-time and continue studying. His days became exhausting. He worked early in the morning, went to school, worked again in the evening, and studied at night. His body was tired, but his mind was focused. Every drop of sweat reminded him why he was doing this. Every painful moment became fuel. There were times when he failed. Exams he didn't pass. Opportunities he missed. Moments when he felt like he was running in place while others moved ahead. But instead of quitting, he learned. He adjusted. He tried again. One day, he heard about a scholarship that could change his life. It was highly competitive, and many people told him not to bother. They said students from big cities with better schools would win. Still, he applied. He studied harder than ever before. He prepared late into the night, pushing past exhaustion and doubt. When the results came out, his hands shook as he read the list. His name was there. For a moment, he couldn't breathe. Tears filled his eyes. That single moment proved something powerful. His effort mattered. His persistence mattered. With the scholarship, he was able to continue his education without burdening his family. But the journey didn't suddenly become easy. He moved to a new place, surrounded by people who were smarter, more confident, and more privileged. Once again, he felt out of place. Once again, doubt whispered in his ear. But by now, he had learned something important. He had learned that confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build by surviving hard times. He reminded himself of where he came from and how far he had already traveled. He worked harder than ever. He asked questions. He made mistakes and learned from them. Slowly, he started to stand out. Teachers noticed his dedication. Friends admired his discipline. Opportunities began to open. Years passed, and the boy who once studied under a street lamp graduated. He found a job. Then a better one. He used his earnings not just to improve his own life, but to support his family. He repaired the house. He made sure his parents no longer worried about food or medical bills. But he didn't stop there. He remembered the pain of being laughed at. He remembered the nights of hunger and doubt. He decided to help others like him. He mentored students, supported education initiatives, and shared his story wherever he could. When people asked him how he did it, he never talked about luck. He talked about persistence. He talked about believing in yourself when no one else does. He talked about using pain as motivation instead of an excuse. His story spread not because he became famous, but because it was real. It reminded people that circumstances don't define destiny. That starting small doesn't mean finishing small. That impossible is just a word used by those who stop trying. If you're watching this right now and feeling stuck, remember this story. Remember that progress is often invisible before it becomes visible. Remember that every effort you make is shaping your future, even when you don't see results immediately. Life will test you. It will try to convince you that you're not good enough, not smart enough, not strong enough. But strength is built in moments like these. When you choose to keep going despite fear, despite failure, despite exhaustion. The poor boy didn't win because life was kind to him. He won because he refused to quit. And if he could rise from nothing, so can you. Your background does not limit your potential. Your present struggles do not cancel your future success. Nothing is impossible in life, not because the world is fair, but because the human spirit is powerful. As long as you believe, work, and persist, you are already changing your story. So hold on to your dreams. Protect them. Fight for them. One day, you'll look back and realize that every struggle was shaping the person you needed to become. Thank you for watching. Keep believing. Keep moving forward. And never forget, nothing is impossible.